French beans have grown to be a major export crop in the local and international markets. For the export market, the French beans have to be well maintained and managed on the farm in order to produce the required grade and quality. For local production, French beans of any grade are acceptable to the fresh produce markets. We talked to Jackson Kamande, an agronomist at Louis Farm Limited. He takes us through the land preparation and farming practices of French beans for quality production, especially for the export market.
We're farming French beans. We start by land preparation, whereby since French beans is a small seeded plant, it requires fine tilth. So while preparing the land, we start with the primary cultivation, then secondary cultivation. After land preparation, we go to, mostly we do manual placement because the size of farms are small, whereby the rate of seeds per acre is 20 kilos.
French beans can grow in any different soil types, ranging from sandy, loam to clay soils. They grow best in warm, wet parts of the country. These areas are like Thika, Murang'a, Machakos, parts of Kajiado, Uasin Gishu, Nakuru, Western Kenya and Kisumu.
It needs tender care, whereby we have to protect it from diseases and pests and also weeds. So majorly for when we talk of diseases, it's mainly attacked by blight, downy mildew. Those are the major diseases in this area. When it comes to pests are sometimes they are dictated, or I can say their availability is affected by weather. Like when it is cold, you'll find that the threshold of most pests are low. And when it's hot, the threshold is high. And when it's hot, we usually have a problem with thrips, aphids, and whiteflies. When it's cold, like during the rainy seasons, we usually have a problem with caterpillars. So, for us to be able to control that, we usually do farm scouting, which guides us on when and what to spray. Like if you can check on our farm, there are some standing sticks, like these ones. They are numbered. These are scouting points. In every block we have 10, whereby we go in each scouting point, we establish the number, and then we get an average. The average number will guide us on the best way to intervene. When intervening, we usually use integrated pest management, whereby we start by either catch biological, all the way until we get to chemical controls. Chemical is our last because we do not want to spoil the soils or something like that. So we do all this because of, mostly we are doing it because we are trying to comply with the market, with the European market, and also to take care of future generation who are going to use the same farms.
French beans are sown directly into the seedbed, and the land should be plowed and harrowed properly just before planting. Spacing should be single rows of 30 by 15 centimeter with a seed per hole, or double rows of 60 by 30 centimeter. This will be dependent on the variety, soil fertility, water availability, as well as climate. But it is advisable to plant in blocks of about 4 rows separated by a path of about 50 centimeters.
For one to be able to plant the 20 kilos, we usually do from plant to plant we do 10 centimeters. And from line to line we do 30 centimeters. The spacing between one plant to the next plant is 10 centimeter. As you can see from here to here, this is 10 centimeter. And then from one line, which is this line, to this line is 10 centimeter, is 30 centimeter. This will help, enable us to achieve the good population that we need for us to have the 20 kilos in 1 acre.
Weeding should be done 2 to 3 weeks after sprouting, followed by a second weeding about 2 weeks later. Care should be taken to avoid damaging the shallow roots, especially during the first weeding. The crop should not be weeded at flowering time, and when the field is wet, to avoid the shedding of flowers, spread of diseases, and soil compaction.
Weed is a major problem because it's a living organism and it's competing with the French beans. So there are several ways that we do weeding. There are hand picking, and also there is the use of djembe. So depending with the weather, it will guide us on which method we are going to use. With good management, 1 kilo of seed is supposed to give you 250 to 300 fresh produce. That's per kilo. Now you are going to multiply the 300 by 20. That will be like 6 tons, but mostly we've been able to achieve 4 tons. Weeds can cause, mostly it can cause up to 50% loss of the yield. So we usually try as much as possible to minimize weeds. We usually do, like when the plant is big and flowering like this one, usually do hand weeding. Yeah, this will help us. It is easier and cheaper, and also we are able to take care of the plant without injuring it. Because when we come with a djembe here, when the plant is this size, we can injure it by maybe making the flowers to fall or something like that. So we prefer hand weeding.
Rain-fed cultivation is possible in areas with well-distributed medium to high annual rainfall. However, to maintain a continuous supply, especially during the off-season, irrigation is essential.
I wouldn't advise someone to go for rain-fed, but for irrigation, it is the best. Because you'll be able to control your production. Yeah, you can produce at any point. You're not going to, you see, you are not being dictated by something. You're not being, yeah, like you have control of your production. You can plant at whatever time you want. We use drip irrigation, which is laid along the line, which is this one. This it drips water in every plant. So this enables every plant to get enough water. So we irrigate as per the water, the plant requirement, which is dictated by the weather. When it's dry, we irrigate more. When it's cool, we reduce the irrigation.
The French beans are normally affected by pests and diseases on the pods and leaves. Diseases such as thrips, black rot, blight, rust and mildew can be controlled organically or by use of herbicides. Jackson elaborates on some diseases and how to control them in order to maintain the required production for the export standards.
This crop, it's been affected by quite some diseases. Like this one, it's affected by rust. Rust is a fungal disease which spread very fast when it starts raining, mostly in this area. We do try to control this using chemicals like copper, chemicals or pesticide with copper as an active ingredient. Also, if you check, you can see some of the pods, they are curved. This is as a result of infestation of thrips, whereby it was punched by a thrip when it was very young, but because of that effect, it does not change even when it grows older or when it's mature. So at the end of the day, we lose this crop and it becomes a reject, which is a loss to the farmer. So we do try as much as possible to control this at an early stage so that we can avoid this at later stage. Also, if you check in another crop, this is bright. Bright comes with rains and chilling weather. So as a result of the weather that we are experiencing at the moment, we are being affected by blights. The other things like handling, when the post-harvesting handling, how people harvest, the physical injuries, things like those ones, how the plant is handled and everything. Yeah, those are things, and some other things like other things like wind. Yeah, they can cause loss.
Picking of pods begins 6 to 8 weeks after planting, depending on the area and variety. This continues for about 1 to 2 months and should be done at regular intervals depending on buyer specifications. Harvesting may be done twice a week for the fine beans and 3 times a week for the extra fine beans. This continues for around 3 weeks. A kilo of seeds may produce 200 to 600 kilograms of produce depending on the variety and crop management.
With good management, 1 kilo of seed is supposed to give you 250 to 300 fresh produce. Yeah.
For purposes of food security and identifying the origin of crop and farm, Gideon ensures all his contracted farms have a traceability code that helps in accountability of the produce.
What you see here, it's what we call block naming. This is traceability, and this is where it starts. The traceability starts from the farm level. If you look closely, this farm, we have this coding, which are 6 digits here, where we have Louis Farm, Kitengela, Kajiado, which is code number 100. We code all our farmers for traceability purposes. So if you look closely, you can see this is code number. This is the code now that the farmers code, which is the LKK 100, block B, but now sub-block AB. This coding starts here and goes to the client as it is for the traceability purposes. In case you have interception to do with the MRL, madawa hivi, we can be able to trace that product from the farm, or from the client on the other side up to the farm. Traceability is key in export market. You can't do without traceability system. All exporters, even when you go, currently I think it was last year when HCD introduced the horticulture traceability system, HTS, which is still on pilot. They are still doing the pilots. And all the products coming from Kenya for export, they must have the codes for the traceability purposes, that they can be able to trace that product from the client to the farmer, just in case it exceeds the maximum residue levels. I think for the local market, we need still to do traceability for the local market. These products we are consuming, we don't even know where they are coming from at the end of the day. And you see, it is one way to make sure that anything we are consuming is safe for human consumption. So traceability should not only be done for the export market, but should be done for the local market too. Because I believe once this farm, they're still doing local farming here, where we have capsicums, we have nyanyas and everything. Zikitoka hapa zinaenda kwa supermarket, nobody knows mahali zimetoka at the end of the day. but we should be more to make sure that the traceability does not only apply to the export market, but also goes to the local market. Yes. And I would advise this, the hotels, the Kenyan hotels, you should buy product from farmers who have trace codes.
The Horticulture Directorate of Kenya reports that the French bean sector has been fast growing in the industry with an annual growth rate of 7%, and they have been ranked third after tourism and tea in the foreign exchange industry.
Kenya controls the huge market, the European market, when it comes to French beans. And the times it takes to grow and the money coming in, it's 45 to 50 days, and then you start harvesting. It is the easiest. Once you get good technical advices from our guys, you can't do any other product.
The CEO of Louis Farm and his agronomist Jackson shared nuggets of wisdom to aspiring French beans farmer for the export production.
Okay, my advice to farmers is one, do contractual farming. This contractual farming, it's always witnessed by the HCD, who is our regulator. Any contract without a stamp of HCD, then there's no deal there. Yes. You make sure that it is stamped by the HCD, which is Horticultural Crops Directorate.
It's good to do early scouting so that you can establish what is going on in your farm, so that you can be able to take action before you incur loss or before it is too late.
For successful French beans production, land preparation should be done early enough in order to allow weeds to dry and decompose before planting, and ensure to use certified seeds from reputable seed suppliers. We hope you've enjoyed the show. For more of these stories, get more on horticulture farming every Monday to Friday from 10 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. on KTN Farmers TV. And for comments and feedback, send an SMS to 22071.